All right, as much as you lovingly hear me talk about my children all the time, they are the lights of my life, they also cause a lot of issues for me. They're very picky eaters, and they don't eat sandwiches in their lunch boxes. They don't eat mashed potatoes. They don't eat a lot of things that kids should really like. So I am tasked every week with coming up with their meal plan. So what I end up doing is making muffins, healthy muffins, different ones every week, and that's what they have instead of sandwiches in their lunch boxes. But I also use the healthy muffins for quick breakfasts and things like that. So last week on Instagram, I was making 2 different kinds of muffins. It was a blueberry chia muffin and a banana Greek yogurt chocolate muffin, and those won by a landslide. So I'm gonna show you how I make my healthy breakfast muffins, and they're so delicious and they come together so fast with stuff you probably already have in your house. So, but first, I wanna start with a trick. Very rarely do my bananas get brown and ripe when I need them. And I'm not really one to store them in the freezer. I know a lot of people do that. I just don't have the time. So what I do almost every week, this is a great trick. I had bananas that looked like this morning. It was literally ripped off this bunch. What I do is I put them in an oven at 350 degrees until they turn black. And then they turn smushy. They're perfectly ripe. They take literally 15 minutes. You do want them to cool down. I don't want to be adding burning hot bananas in with my eggs and stuff. Give them a few minutes to cool down, but it's the most perfect bananas every single time. So all I do is I just cut them open and they just smush right out. They're nice and cooled down. It's so easy. And if they get really smushy, don't stress about it. That makes the smushier they are, the sweeter they are, the more sugars have come out. So I go ahead and just smash them in. Look how easy that was. All right, now I'm gonna give these a smash. This is what I love about this muffin recipe is it's kind of a one-pot wonder. You don't need a one-bowl wonder. You don't necessarily need to have a mixer and all that fun stuff. Just smash it all together. Now let's smash this with some other stuff here. We're gonna smash it with some Greek yogurt. Now for me, the Greek yogurt, you get that added protein, the added calcium, but also at the same time, you can use vanilla if you like a little bit of a sweeter muffin, or you can go ahead and just use plain. I have plain today because we got a lot of sweet stuff going in here, but sometimes for the kids, I'll use vanilla just to sweeten them up a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that a good mix in there. Now, this is a little bit of a trick. I add in a teaspoon of baking soda in here, and I add this in right now. I sprinkle it in. I don't put them with my dry ingredients. I put it with my wet ingredients, and it kind of wakes it up and activates it a little bit. So I'm gonna give that a good stir in here. Just kind of keep smashing as you go. Just get a nice big bowl. Let that baking soda really kind of meld in there. Wake it up. That way you get nice fluffy muffins. Now let's add a few more things in here. I need a half a teaspoon of salt. Salt, you know, I've talked about it before. Salt is not just a seasoner. It actually opens your taste buds and makes things taste stronger than they are. That's why salted caramel is such a big deal, right? Because when you have caramel, you taste caramel. Salted caramel, boom, it wakes up your taste buds. You taste the butter. You taste those kind of molasses flavors. So for me, you gotta get salt in here because that's gonna wake up all those flavors. All right, now let's go ahead and get an egg in here. I always crack my eggs on a flat surface. That way you reduce the risk of getting the shell in there. We're gonna give that a little smashy smash, get that in there. Let's add a little bit of vanilla. And a little bit of oil here. Now I have a 1/4 cup of oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. I'm using coconut oil today. It's a little healthier, but honestly, whatever cooking oil you have in your pantry, it'll work. Maybe not olive oil. That one's not gonna be great in this, but all the other neutral oils, no problem. All right, let's go ahead and get some sugar in here. You can use regular sugar, coconut sugar, whatever you got. Sometimes people like to make these super, super healthy, so they'll use like the coconut sugar, but regular sugar is fine. All right, so now you got your wet ingredients here, good to go, everything's smashed up. Let's do our dry ingredients. So I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. I'm gonna make a mess. It's all part of the fun. Give that a little whisk in here. And now let's get our mini chocolate chips. Now, clearly I'm making these for my children to try and get them to eat, so I do a good old 3/4 cup of chocolate chips. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can do chocolate chunks. You can skip this step, but I find this adds a great sweetness, and I'm actually gonna keep a couple. I like to sprinkle some over the top. And now we're gonna carefully fold this into our wet ingredients. And I know you always see on baking recipes. Don't overmix, don't overmix. And later I do have a pastry chef on that's gonna talk to us, and she can give a little more about that, but truly nice and gentle, because then they stay fluffy and they don't get super dense. So see how I'm gently mixing this together. I have an oven set to 350 degrees. That's how easy this recipe is. All right, so now this is coming together here. I like to line my pan. See, even if there's a little bit of lumps in here, that's okay. See, that's barely mixed. That's what I'm looking for. So I have my muffin cups here. I always line. I just find it makes life so much easier when it comes to taking them on the go, when it comes to cleaning up the muffin pan, which we know is one of the hardest pans to clean. And then I love a good ice cream scooper. I think this is a 2-ounce ice cream scooper for cupcakes, for cookie dough, for all the things. You just know everything is going to be measured the same. Now I fill these about 3/4 of the way, and then I sprinkle them with a little chocolate chips over the top. Now sometimes with this recipe, I will add in 2 tablespoons of chia seeds for some added protein and some added fiber, or a couple tablespoons of, I don't know, hemp seeds or anything healthy like that. Go ahead and add them in. So I have some here that we made earlier today. And tell me that you don't want to eat that for breakfast, or your kids don't want to take this in their lunchbox. See, I think they're gorgeous. Those little added chocolate chips at the top, delightful. I'm going to fill up this basket here,